Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Today our tutu is going to be themed in the NFL. I have some great announcements. I'm going to be a new auntie to a nephew and a niece. My sister and my brother's better half are both expecting in spring. So my sister's having a boy, but my brother is having a girl. So his favorite thing to watch is football. And his team, of course, is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we're from Texas, so, Anyway, we created this, and this has a lot of organza because it's really hard to find that midnight green color that they talk about for the jerseys for the Philadelphia Eagles. But you can use hunter green as well. Just make sure that you find that deep hunter green. When you're working with organza, folks, be careful unless it's ribbon because it will fray on you like crazy. But this is for a newborn. I don't have a tiny mannequin to show you on, but I just loved the way it turned out. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles ribbon on it. And then the next one, because the household is two separate favorite teams, I had to make two so I don't slide anybody. And the second one that we're going to actually do the tutorial on is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I'm not a big football person, so I had to look up the colors. And I think it's angry green and college blue and the white stripe. And anyway, I learned all that fun stuff. Just go up. You can look at the jerseys on the NFL site, I'm sure, to get the accurate colors for your favorite team. Alright, so this is the one we're creating, and like I said, these are infant sized, newborn size actually, and this is probably even going to be a little bit big. Alright, the colors once again, we're going to utilize navy blue in place of college blue. We're going to use lime green in place of, I believe it's angry green. I do want to make mention that the white stripes, I don't know where I got that from, but apparently that's not included in this year's jersey lineup. So just disregard that and notice that the silver is actually going to be on the outside of the green. And if you look at the jersey, that's how they have it. Now I've already created the cuts on the tool. We're doing an angled cut. I've made this on an elastic band. We're doing it on a bigger tutu so that way you can see it more easily, because making these little newborn ones are really hard to zoom in on so that you can really see what's going on. Now I've already added most of the navy and I've left a section on each side, and you can guesstimate or you can actually measure, and I noticed here that I have a little bit too much space on one, so I'll need to add another tool piece. You may want to add some Seattle Seahawks printed ribbon to really make this pop. To determine how many layers you need, think about if something's going to be worn under this, or if this is going to be worn standalone, if this is for an adult or a child. But take into consideration that the more layers you put per tool spot, the wider and thicker your tool slip knot is going to be. Now we're creating this on an elastic band. Measure around the waist or the chest/bust area if you're creating a dress. And remember, when you're cutting your elastic, that you stretch it out and then you make your cut, because you can get a lot of use out of your elastic. Every time you add tool to your elastic, it's going to stretch just a bit. So make sure you take away a few inches depending on your elastic band that you're working with. As we're doing the slip knot method, determine how many layers you want to use and simply join the tails together as close as possible. Squish up the folded area, put the folded area under your elastic, widen it with your fingers. Now bring the tails up and through that whole area. Now gently tug down, making sure you don't fold over your elastic. And one way that I do this is I simply use my finger as a guide, and then I take a dowel, or you can use a pencil or any type of instrument that is like a stick, and then you can tighten your tool knots. You can do this at the beginning or the end of placing all your tool, but you can press down a little bit more firmly and you won't risk folding over your elastic or bunching it up. After you've placed your navy tulle, make sure that you leave a small amount of elastic free on each side. Now you can guesstimate this, or you can be precise and get a measuring tape. And if you're guesstimating, you can use the width of your fingers and just check on each side to see if you need to add another tulle piece or not. On those blank elastic areas on the sides, now we're going to use our silver tulle. Once again, we're using the slip knot method. Put the ends together, joining them as closely as possible where they match up in length. Squish that folded area. Take the folded area, bring it underneath your elastic, widen it just a bit so your tails can go through. Now tug down gently, and do that for the other side, placing your silver tulle. We're creating these on the side so that way it looks like the jersey sleeves, and we're going to add the lime green in the middle. Now since you're working with elastic, you are going to be able to push apart your tulle spots so that way you can make room for your lime. Something that we're going to do that is completely optional, and I'm not quite sure if I like it or not yet, so you be the judge, is we're going to emulate a quote-unquote number in the middle of the tutu skirt or dress, depending on what you're working on. We're going to put the silver, and then on the outside we're going to put just 1 or 2 strips of the lime to emulate the number. And again, not quite sure if I'm going to like it or not, but you be the judge. If perhaps you find your favorite player's number, you might be able to put that on there in place of what we're doing here. The possibilities are endless. Have fun with it. A special note, when you're placing your lime green tulle, for the sides you're going to put them in between the silver strips you've already placed, and when you're creating the quote-unquote number, that's going to be opposite. You're putting the green as an outline on the outside of the silver strips. To gain center mass, you can guesstimate, or you can count from each side and get your center that way. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and show you a couple different things that you can accent this with. You can cover all your tulle knots around the elastic band with some navy or lime green satin or satin edged ribbon or organza ribbon, whichever you prefer. And then we're going to accent it with some printed Seattle Seahawks themed gross grain ribbon. I got this on Etsy, and I believe it was Ribbons Galore. And I like this option because I don't use a lot of this, and you can buy in increments of 1 to 5 yards at a time for a reasonable price. Now, I've elected to use organza satin edged navy ribbon, and as you can see here, the colors don't match up. This manufacturer's navy is different from the tulle manufacturer's navy. So I'm going to take away this and just leave it as is and accent with the gross grain Seattle Seahawks themed ribbon instead. Now when putting your embellishments, you can even add helmets or pom-poms or any type of embellishment that you desire. I'd look in the homecoming section of your craft store, the little footballs, all of that. We're just using ribbon, and with your gross grain ribbon, it's printed with the Seattle Seahawks theme. You're going to want to heat seal the ends just like you would with satin edged ribbon or satin ribbon. And there are a couple different ways that you can add your ribbon to it. You can bring the ends together, add a dab of hot glue, press firmly. Just remember, if you're going to do that, if you want to add any fancy design to the bottom of your ribbon, you're going to want to adjust where you put that hot glue at. I made that mistake several times. You can do the slip knot method as well. Just remember, if you're working with a ribbon that only has one side printed on, you're going to want to adjust it. Play with it a bit. You can also do your ribbon where you don't join both ends together, but instead you simply take, say, about 1 inch and then hot glue it to the other part of the ribbon after you've put it over the elastic. Let that dry a bit, move on to your next piece. I've shown you a couple different ways that you can do your ribbon, and then you can add your fancy designs, your fancy cuts to the bottom of the ribbon. Don't forget to heat seal if you do any extra cutting on your ribbon. And here you have it. This is our Seattle Seahawks themed tutu skirt. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments section. Make sure you visit us on tutucute.com. That's the number 2, then tucute.com. We're just launching. Y'all have a great, fantastic day. Thanks again so much for liking, subscribing, and sharing. It has truly been our pleasure sharing our tutorials with you. If you liked our channel, please subscribe. You can find all of our links on our YouTube homepage and Google Plus page. We also include our links at the end of each video. Thank you so much for viewing. You're the best. And remember, whatever you create is going to be fantastic because you took the time to create it.